Hey, what is going on, everybody? Today I want to do a bit of a character spotlight for someone who often falls between the cracks a little bit here in Marvel Strike Force, but someone that I've been using a lot off and on for some time, and I think it's time that I gave her the recognition that she's due. And why I think that if you haven't already, then you should be considering gearing her despite what some others might tell you. Now, this character in question is Shuri of the Wakandans. Now, she's always going to be a bit middle of the road, but for this exact reason, I think it's why she's probably going to continue to be useful, and she is an amazing filler character, especially with all of these partial teams coming out, and sort of the ripping out of other characters from their teams. She provides a lot of use in a variety of aspects in the game, and we're going to go over them one at a time, and hopefully you'll be as impressed with her as I've been, because she's someone that I've been using now on my main account a lot, and someone that I'm using, that I'm building and using on my baby account too. So, without further ado, let's get this show on the road. Alright, so here we are with my main account, Shuri. Now, I know what people are going to say, because they've said this from before when I've kind of talked about Shuri, is, hey Boilon, you have a 7 red Shuri, so yes, of course you're going to say that she's amazing. And this isn't the only reason why I'm saying this. Yes, I'm thankful that I have a 7 red Shuri, but I would still be using her regardless. Honestly, I think she's deserving of at least a 5 red. I don't often, tell people to go take a 6 red for a lot of characters, to be honest, if they're not arena meta anyways. But Shuri has provided a lot of good use for me and my accounts, plural, both my main account and my baby account that I've been using, and I'm still using her on a daily basis, in things like Doom Raid tech, where I do think that Shuri has a lot of value there. I think that she will continue to be this sort of a wild card where that you're going to be bringing her in and out for some time to come. Who knows, maybe we might get a Wakandan rework at some time. I would actually really love that because of how trash the team itself was, despite what, I remember back in the day when the Wakandans first came out and they were labeled as the Apex Raid team, and that kind of fell short quite hard, and then people tried to make the argument that, well, you just had a T4, they were very T4 heavy, and you needed a T4 everything to make them work. Yeah, well, I mean, at the very least, the Shuri was still a good character that, even now, how long has it been? I can't remember. Has it been like 2 years? It's been a long time. She's permanently available now in the event store, or the events tab, so that is really great. So she's very accessible now, more so than before, for newer player accounts as well. And how, in case people are unaware of how you unlock her through Spider-Verse characters. Now, what a lot of people do end up doing is tend to be doing Sinister Six, because Sinister Six also unlocks Invisible Woman, and they're also Spider-Verse, so you can use them to unlock Shuri at the same time. So you can do 2 for the price of 1. That's what I did on my baby account, because getting characters like Symbiote Spider-Man and the Symbiotes who are better Spider-Verse characters are a lot harder to get at lower level. But enough of the unlock, because that's the easy part. What can she be used in? So it's really important to really talk about her tags, and that's Hero, Global, Tech, Support, Wakandan, and Legendary, because that is a little bit important these days. So we're going to start off with the Hero aspect. Obviously, she's usable in the Heroes campaign, but there is certain areas where she is usable in the further up campaigns that it makes her important. So giving her the Wakandan tag makes her available in Doom War 2.1 to 2.3, which is another thing that I'm having to do on my baby account right now. So I'm going to be gearing her up there just so I can get myself through that a little bit easier. She is also available on Doom War 3.7 to 3.9 because that has a Hero Tech function. I know a lot of people do use Kestrel to carry that, but having a higher up Shuri really helps you get through that a little bit easier as well, depending on whether or not you're trying to 1-star that or 3-star that. I imagine that she's going to be cropping up, in campaigns to come as well. She's a very flexible character. Now, despite having 7 red, surprisingly, I only have 1 T4 on her, and that's Wakanda Forever, and that's her passive. So she's really interesting. So not only does she spawn with speed up to herself and all Wakandan allies, but honestly, we don't really use a lot of Wakandans alongside her. She does give speed up to herself, on spawn, making her very quick, and that's good for a special when we talk about her. But on turn, heal the most injured ally for 10% of this character's maxed health, while in charged, heal an additional most injured ally for 10% of this character's max health, and lose 1 charged. On defense up, generate ability energy for self, so she can get quite a bit of ability energy for herself, and, you know, a lot of her cooldowns are low ability energy costs. In raids, self and all Wakandan allies gain 40% max health. Now, I did pick up the T4, and my head's a little bit in the way. It gives an extra 20% max health. And that was mainly for her to, you know, because her base stat health is nowadays, because of characters, a bit on the lower end. But in raids where I do still use her in Doom Raid tech lane, you know, this extra 20% does help. Now, she gets also 20% armor for herself, but this is also really important. This part is one of my favorite aspects that she does in raids. So in raids, when self or any ally drops below 50% health, gain 3 deflect. Now, this is very good in conjunction with characters like Doc Ock, because Doc Ock heals himself and other, you know, Sinister Six members, but realistically, unless we get a tech Sinister Six coming soon, it's just himself in Doom Raid. But he deflects, he blocks, and he heals himself. So the deflects that he's getting from Shuri really helps synergize with himself as well. And, you know, the characters that I tend to use in Doom Raid tech is Kestrel and Doom, obviously for the moment, Doc Ock, Shuri, and Nebula currently. I think that it really depends on what kind of tech characters come out down the line, and I really do want to look at the wider tech characters to kind of give you an idea of why I still use her. You know, we'll see. But, you know, for now, I think that she's a very solid character. I think she will continue to be that way as well. Let's talk about her wider kit, though, in case you've never actually deep dived into Shuri. So, Vibranium Gauntlets is pretty basic for a basic, but it does apply heal block. It does hit adjacent targets. The damage is not super stellar. I thought about just, you know, I have quite a few T4s left over. I was thinking about doing this, honestly. Applies heal block for 2 turns to the primary target. This is kind of important. A lot of people used to use her very popularly, is that a word? In Dark Dimension 3 Global, in the Iron Fist or Double Fist node, there was like a bunch of Defenders characters, 2 Iron Fists. And back in the day, you know, when Dark Dimension 3 Global was a lot harder, people were using characters like Shuri to heal block these Iron Fists to stop them from healing themselves, because she would often go on turn 1 because of the speed up from her passive, and this allows her to put on the heal block, oftentimes for 2 turns if you pick that up. I might consider doing that, possibly, just because I have the 7 red. The special, really great, you know, because of that speed up from the passive. Apply defense up to self and all allies for 2 turns, and it's on a cooldown of 4. It's very low. Apply +1 charge up to a maximum of 5 to self and all Wakandan allies. Generate 2 ability energy for 2 random allies. Now, this actually can also fly to herself, I'm pretty sure. So it is completely random in that case. The generate ability energy for 1 Wakandan ally. You know, does this go to herself? You know, if anyone actually knows this, maybe I should have asked this question before I made this video. But if this actually does go to herself as well, I might consider just maxing her out. You know, because that would not only give her, at a bare minimum, 2 ability energy, because she would be getting 1 from getting the charge, because she gets ability energy for charged, and which is, or sorry, from defense up. Oh my god, I'm getting confused now on her kit. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Her ability energies are on such a low cooldown. I just want to know, does this go to her? If this goes to her, I will buy it, and it's really important. Kimoyo healing. Now, there is a downside to this, and there's something I really dislike about this, and the part of it is the order of operations. And this has bothered me since she's kind of basically been implemented. So, heal the most injured ally for 250 health, plus 15% of this character's max health. Now, this is not a lot. The 250 flat, very low. 15% not bad. If that ally is a Wakandan, clear 1 negative effect. So what, and then repeat this 3 additional times, or 4 if you have the T4. Now, what I wish happened was that it cleansed, it had some form of cleansing. So what can happen is, often in Doom Raids, actually, in some of the other raids, where you're coming up against characters that can heal block. So if that most injured ally is heal blocked, what can happen is that she'll use this and she'll heal them repeatedly, and it doesn't do anything. So you really have to be careful about heal block. What I would really love is maybe she needs to be paired with someone that can cleanse a little bit better. Maybe this could get reworked at some point in time to cleanse even 1 negative status effect and heal at the same time, or cleanse first and then heal. You know, the order of operations is really important. Even if that ally is Wakandan, even if it's herself, it actually heals first and then cleanses, and then repeats it. So the first heal is actually going to be blocked from the heal block, and then if it was her, it would get cleansed, and then the other ones would work. But yeah, it's just an awkward order of operations. I wish that at least the clearing of the negatives happened first. I wish it was more widely applicable and not just Wakandans. I wish it would just clear one negative effect, you know, maybe from all allies, you know, in that order, and then heal. That would be great. That would be a great, you know, change to her. That would actually, that alone would make her quite a bit better than what she already is. So that's her kit in a nutshell. But why is she important? Where am I using her? Where have I used her in the past? Like I said, I have used her in Dark Dimension 3 Global. Now, I didn't use her in Dark Dimension 4 Global, despite having her at Gear Tier 15. This came more recently, when I started using her more in Doom Raid Tech. I needed to bump up her stats. You know, in terms of her overall stats, it's 161k. She's got about 340k health. It's respectable, but it could be a little bit better. You know, newer characters have quite a bit higher health pool, typically. And so she does not compete very well in that regard. Her overall stats aren't terrible. But obviously she's there as a healer support function, and she does do that, so I've upgraded her to Healer 2. Healer Blue 1, by the way, is the best investment you could do in the blue sort of category very early on, because Blue T2 level 1 gains you 15% active healing, and that's on top of the 20% that you're already getting from the green category, giving you a whopping 35% active healing from Blue Tier 2 ISO level 1. So that's really good there. And I went to T2 level 2 just so I could get the 10% max health. I really just wanted to boost her hit points as much as I possibly could, because the more hit points she has, the more she's healing. So that's really good there too. Now, let's talk about that. You know, Dark Dimension 3, Dark Dimension 4. I've mentioned the two areas of Doom War where she is widely available. So Doom War 2.1 to 2.3, 3.7 to 3.9. I don't believe she's in Doom War Chapter 4. I'm pretty sure I just cleared that recently and I didn't use her. She's also a support character, and that's actually important for the... tech character. The tech character makes her important for the origin challenges as well, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Wakandan for Chaos Theory, which again, super important flash event. One of the most important flash events in the game is Chaos Theory, so don't neglect that. And the legendary tag, which is useful in Dark Dimension 4 Legendary and the upcoming Dark Dimension 5 Legendary. Now, whether or not she's going to be valid there or not, that remains to be seen, but she is usable in Dark Dimension 4 Legendary, believe it or not. But let's talk about Dark Dimension 3 and Dark Dimension 4. I said Dark Dimension 4 Global. I actually meant Dark Dimension 3 Global and Dark Dimension 4 Legendary. But let's talk about Dark Dimension 3 Global, because, you know, a lot of people have been asking me, obviously you're building, you know, the Secret Avengers because they're global characters, but who else are you building? So, you know, she actually is a very solid 5th character to be building for that. So if you're running all 3 of the Secret Avengers, that's Cap Sam, Maria Hill, and Sharon Carter, a lot of times, you know, who are you going to be using as your 4th or 5th member? Now, for my baby account, you know, I'm considering characters like Ghost, but you could also be considering characters like Shuri, you know, depending on what you have available to you. Obviously, you know, don't look at my account right here, because this is blowing Dark Dimension 3 completely out of the water. But Ghost as a 4th option, even Shuri as a 4th option, here, those are your best sort of 4th and 5th options. Now, I know it's not a top 3 choice here, because Secret Avengers are obviously better, but, you know, for an early account, you know, it's not a bad decision to do here. And obviously, like I said, you're going to need her built up for Chaos Theory and the Origin Challenge. So I want to talk about that really quickly as well. Even though, you know, this only happens a couple times a week, it's very important to start clearing these out as early as you possibly can to start farming up this tech gear. So, you know, you do need 5 characters of tech, level 5 ISO 8, you know, and recommended this stuff. But in terms of what characters that you would typically be using, you know, from your tech cast to get this done, the earlier the better, because, you know, you're getting, you know, 18. If you're farming this every time it pops up, you're getting 18 of the unstable molecules. You're getting 9 of the laser torches and 6 of the charged particles and all the purple stuff, you know, multiple times a week. So this is really important to get done. So some of the characters and we're going to assume that you don't have Doctor Doom available to you, because realistically you should have done this challenge probably before Doctor Doom. You know, you have characters like Shuri, Nebula, Doc Ock, Kestrel, obviously no brainer, Ghost, Minerva and Ultron are not characters that I would typically recommend gearing anymore because I think they're far past their expiry. So it doesn't leave you with a lot of options going down the way. There isn't a lot of great tech characters, and that's kind of the point of why Shuri is so good. I think that she's still worth building. So I want to pull that up. And just as we round out the video, I want to kind of end here with the tech cast because I think there's a severe amount of lack of better words to say there. There's not a lot of good tech characters. And so when it comes to possibly wasting tech gear, I don't think you actually are, because there's not a lot of great options. This is basically it. And honestly, if you sliced out like Ultron and all this other stuff, it gives you like a top 5. I honestly would not build Minerva anymore. And so this leaves you a very limited roster of tech characters, you know, 6, including Doctor Doom. A lot of them, look at this. There's just Misty Knight, maybe, I guess, if you really want to. I have a 6 red Misty Knight. That's sad. Lady Deathstrike, possibly. I'll give an honorable mention to Lady Deathstrike. But you can see that the tech roster is super, super lacking in Marvel Strike Force. So not only do we need more tech characters, but the tech characters we do have are often overused because of not having any other option. So this provides a good opportunity for Shuri to kind of be kind of this middle-of-the-road character. You know, she's not a Doctor Doom. She's not a Kestrel. But she's still very solid. She's a good support character. She's useful in a lot of things that you can use her in, and you kind of need to build her up to a certain point anyways. You know, if you're taking up to Chaos Theory Tier 7, you're mainly building Shuri and Killmonger. You're not building up the rest of the Wakandans. You know, for that Origin Challenge, like I said, that's really important to do. And Dark Dimension 3 and Doom War, you know, these are all important aspects where you're going to be wanting to use Shuri as well. Whether or not in a couple months' time are you still going to be using Shuri and things like Doom Ray Tech, that remains to be seen. I've been told that, you know, we'll be waiting a handful of months more before we get some more tech characters. So who knows how long it could be. That's why I want to put emphasis on Shuri, why I think she's good, why she's still worth building, and if you haven't done so already, I would really get on that. So that's the end of this video. Let me know what you think about Shuri. Have you been using her? Where do you use her? She's also, you know, I forgot to mention, but Alliance War. You know, I didn't have time to talk about this really, but I'm not a huge Alliance War person, but I have been using Shuri in things like Weapon X without Omega Red with Shuri. You know, Shuri is a great drag and drop character because of her defense up, her survivability aspects that she can add to a team. You know, she's like a weird kingpin that you can sort of just drag and drop into any other team and make them a little bit better. So, yeah, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys like Shuri too. I hope that you guys are building her. I think you should. If you haven't, get on it. She's still worth using at this time in the game. And, of course, until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.